Salute Knicks Nation. The Vegas streets are buzzing. Back at it for Summer League. Shout out to the squad. Let's break it down as the first game is in the books and the New York Knicks fought hard all the way to the end and almost forced overtime as they lost 90-94 to these Charlotte Hornets, who featured Brandon Miller, Nick Smith, some experienced guys, but Tyler Kolek, I think, stole the show for the New York Knicks with his dishing and swishing. Jake Toppin showed his length and his athleticism with his scoring, together with Dwayne Washington. We'll break it down with the best chat in the biz. Welcome in, guys. Salute. Glad you could join us for Summer League Game 1 post-game in Vegas. And I appreciate everyone for rocking out with us with the live chat. And it's just great to have New York Knicks basketball back. We'll talk about yesterday's big news of Jalen Brunson extension, right? And what that means, and the reactions that have come through from the national media and fans alike. But Tyler Kolek, we'll go through the box score and shout out our guys. Obviously, the number one rule of Summer League is it's Summer League. There's always going to be some reactions and some overreactions as well, but it was a slow start for the New York Knicks early, and it didn't look great. First thing going through my mind was that this is Charlotte's third Summer League game. They've played in the previous Summer League, which was the California Classic, I believe, or the Utah one. And so, look, the Knicks look more rusty coming out of the gate, but Kolek steadied the ship. It was the second quarter where the Knicks made a huge run and went down by 7 points at the half after being down a lot more before that. But Kolek finished with 7 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists, and a team high +9. Right. Shout out Joseph Astral, Walter Shokan, Chris, and the chat just joining us. Replay squad. Salute. Give us your reactions. Let us know if you saw the action tonight. It was on ESPN News channel, I believe. But look, Kolek was, most notably the more experienced of all the draft picks coming in, and he showed it. The Knicks look so steady with him on the floor. We saw his IQ, at various points in the ball game. Right. Here's one here where, he hits the tray, but he saw he was on the strong side and he relocated to the weak side to get that open shot. And look, we're going to break down some more highlights and film of tonight's game. But look, Kolek with 7.7 rebounds, 7 assists, was the best player for the New York Knicks. He was going to be, the first round draft pick. We'll debate it for a little while, but obviously Pacôme Dadiet has a younger, a young age at the moment, but maybe a higher ceiling. Obviously, that's yet to play out. But Dadiet showed us some signs defensively, where he was matched up on Brandon Miller, and I think he did hold his own too. Specifically, in this play here, where Pacôme was matched up on the best scorer for Charlotte, and he held his own as well. And Ariel Hukporti was running the floor at a solid level, found some easy buckets from Kolek too, but I thought Ariel Hukporti's defense was quite solid. But the playmaking of Kolek here, he relocates, drives, and finds Toppen for the easy bucket, right? Jacob Toppin was the second leading scorer with 19 points. Dwayne Washington, right, the OG, the more senior head. Obviously, he's got more pro experience, right? He was a man among some boys with 26 points, right? But he put up 18 shots too. So, look, a lot of positives to come from the game. Obviously, I was expecting Kolek to look a lot more, assured and a lot more ready than most of the other guys, and that was the case. So that's a big tick for me. Obviously, 7 assists is outstanding, and he's not known for looking for his shot, right? So 7 points, but a +9 fantastic, right? And 1 of 2 from deep. And of course, Jake Toppin, right, spent last season on the two-way. Great to see him, right? He was probably the second best story for the New York Knicks, along with Dwayne Washington, who we know is a veteran. But, Jake, 8 of 16, missed that layup at the end. Man, it was a great out of timeout play that Dice rolled up, and he was cutting to the bucket. The lane was wide open, but it rimmed out that would have forced it to 92-92. And I think the New York Knicks would have forced overtime had that gone down. So tough luck for Jake Toppin in this one. But look, he showed his athleticism. I love to see Jake run the floor well. And that was really good to see. We'll see a lot more of it. Obviously, in this summer league to come, there's 4 more games, right? 3 announced and 1 more yet to be announced. And then there might be more in terms of the playoffs as well. So the Knicks will face the Nets, the Kings, Pistons, and 1 more to be announced too. But you see early, Kolek got the Knicks back into the game. Here he is diving, in the pick and roll. But the vision, you could see Hukporti there trailing, and he found Hukporti for the easy bucket. Hukporti finished with a couple buckets. A lot of them were the easy ones at the rim because Kolek found the man cutting too. So tough night for Dadiet scoring-wise. We'll talk a little bit more about him and his defense. Hukporti, I want to focus a little bit on him as well because I thought he was okay early. Missed his first 3 shots, but then thanks to Kolek and his energy, rolling to the rim. And I thought he played pretty solid drop coverage as well with Ariel Hukporti. So, not setting the world on fire in the first game, Dadiet and Hukporti. But I thought Hukporti definitely looked solid early. He didn't get many minutes in the second half. They wanted to obviously roll with Skapinsev a little bit and probably get a look at him too. But of course, Rokus Jokubaitis came alive as the game went along. I thought he was a pretty solid defender, which is one of his weaknesses, which is something that I've been wanting to focus on. He was one of the best plays from Dadiet. He found the cutter there and there. He finished it in traffic. So good to see Pacôme. His cutting was a feature, and his defense. Right, the shot just didn't fall with this one. Salute to the chat. Welcome in, Paula. Official payback. Juan, what's up, coach? In the building. Great question. Did Kolek look decent on defense? He did. He did, coach. +9 in the box score. Considering the Knicks lost, he definitely held his own. No, he competes, and I know he wasn't a liability coming in. In college, he was able to hold his own, but he's not a plus defender. But I think he's solid enough, right, to not get abused. But here, Rokus used his man strength and forced that. That was one of Rokus's best buckets. Effective in the pick and roll. One of the best players in the pick and roll in Europe. Rokus won the Rising Star Award in Europe 2 years ago too. So don't forget, he's only 23, and I've seen a lot of overreactions. We'll obviously wait to see whether he's going to come in the future. Most likely not this year. Looks like he's going to re-sign a deal with his former club. That's his day job essentially, and I think this is more his side hustle, where he's trying to make this his goal. Rokus is still trying to pursue the NBA, but the latest news came out yesterday that he's looking to sign with a club in his home country, but that was on the cards with Rokus. Nick Yak, Building Blocks, Stalkosaurus with us. Salute, guys. Appreciate you rocking out. And our replay squad, salute. Give that like button a smash and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Welcome in. We're going through our standouts, our keys to the game as we go through each player. The standout was Tyler Kolek, and I think it's going to get fans a lot more excited to see him after a performance like this, because, we saw signs where, he looked like the most heady player on the court, and that bodes well for the season ahead, right? If there's an injury, maybe there's a need, he can give us spot minutes. Maybe there's a world where he wins more minutes, but like Coach said, I thought his defense was pretty solid. Stuff in the stat sheet, man, what's there not to like? With +9 and 7, 7, and 7 too. And look, drilling the open three. I mean, as we saw in the highlights, if he relocates like that to the corner and he gets those open threes, then it's going to be fantastic, for the New York Knicks offense to continue to flow. We also saw Tibbs, Wesley, Leon, Dolan, OG, and McCullar Bridges all courtside, repping as the Knicks franchise right now is buzzing too. So we get a look at Tibbs and Bridges. It was all smiles from those two, right? But next most impressive guy, I got to say, was Jake Toppin, right, for me. Obviously, Washington got his more points. Washington, we know, is probably going to, not be with the Knicks roster moving forward, right? He's a veteran. He's no longer on the two-way, but Jake is. So look forward to seeing, a big season ahead for Jake on the two-way. I tell you what, man, he looks like he's grown. He looks like he's grown like another inch, has Jake. But look, man, he was unlucky with that last finish, but he gave us buckets. He ran the floor really well, and he helped the offense come alive, right? The New York Knicks were getting beaten down the court a little bit, but they buckled down defensively in the second half and fought back into this ball game and really could have stole the game late too. Had Scap and Sev not missed a bunny, that would have put the Knicks up or tied. And I think obviously late the defense clamped down, and good to see Dice rubbing off on this squad with. Obviously, as a Tibbs disciple, the defense was lacking early, but the guys really started to buckle down, and look, Jake was a neutral in the plus-minus with 19 points, gave 6 boards, 3 assists, and a block, and finishing plays, finishing in traffic. The pleasing thing is also his three-point shooting, guys. 2 of 3 from deep. Jake Toppin, can he find the stroke? Jake Toppin, second most impressive performance out of this ball game for me. He's on the Knicks roster. He's on a two-way, and I look forward to seeing his continued development. Right as we go through, there is 4 more games of summer league. Right. Paula Salute says they were much better in the second half. Definitely, as I said, the defense clamped down. I think that fueled the offense too. Juan says Toppin played well. He might be able to get some backup 4 minutes. Look, that would be gravy. Don't sleep on his development. Coming out of Kentucky, of course, last year was a good development year. We didn't really get to see him much, but I'm sure he was really putting in the work. Shokan says Kolek's trying to take McBride's job. LOL. Right. Hey, it's competition. And it's awesome to see these guys, have a good performance today. Kolek, right? I think, there's a world where he's going to get some situational minutes. I mean, it's hard not to envision, especially the three-point shot. And if the defense can be, just solid enough, hold his own. Obviously, we don't read into the final score or the ups and downs because, Charlotte is playing, a borderline, soon-to-be all-star. Brandon Miller, future all-star. Coming into his 3rd year, Brandon Miller was hot tonight, and he was one and done. Brandon Miller is not going to play another Vegas Summer League game. So Charles Lee, the new head coach, and the Hornets are trying to troll us, right? Just to throw Brandon Miller out there for one game. And the Knicks still almost won. So considering it was our first ball game and it was Charlotte's 3rd, of Summer League. I thought we started slow, but we found our rhythm and our defense stepped it up, guys. So I'm cautiously excited and optimistic for the rest of Summer League and to see how the rest of things play out. But yeah, I've seen the news, the updates in terms of the Trump situation as well. Not going to comment on those issues, but yeah, I mean, it is crazy. Buzzer, what's up? What's good? Glad you could join us. Disappointing ending to not get the win, but it's all about how the players looked, really. Win or loss, I mean, hopefully we can bounce back and win the summer chip, win a few more games and qualify. But we'll go through each player and give our thoughts and shout you guys out. That's what we do, guys. This is your post game, and we'll get your thoughts. But the two standouts for me were Tyler Kolek. I'll give him an A. I'll give him an A for his first hit out. Jake Toppin has got to get a B plus for me. Dwayne Washington will deserve a B plus as well, although he did empty the clip and he is a veteran, right? But yeah, Toppin's got those tools, right? If he can hone the shot, he can hone the dribble a bit more. That's going to be something that's really going to, allow him to push for, an end of the bench real roster spot. He is an older prospect, is Jake, but the size, like you guys said, counts in our favor, his favor as well. We've got Bates-Diop at the 4, and then things are really getting a bit tricky, as we'll talk about later in the show. The future of the roster, the moves moving ahead. Jalen Brunson, the king of New York City right now, the Mecca, taking that discount. And we're going to talk about what lies ahead. Precious hasn't re-signed, right? So who is the backup for at this point? I mean, thank God we have Toppen still as some depth. Thank God we've got Bates-Diop as well. And we're going to talk about Pac-Man, right? Pac Daddy next up. I thought the things that I saw in the pre-draft were holding up in terms of him cutting. He's a live body. We'll pull the clip up of him playing good defense as well. I think that was probably the standout for Pacôme Dadiet in terms of his defense. You saw the athleticism. Pac-Man finished with a what was his stats? He was 2 of 8, right? Missed all 3 of his 3-pointers. 5 points and a -4 though. 5 rebounds and 2 assists. So the two standouts for Dadiet were his defense was pretty solid and his passing and cutting. Now, finding his flow in the offense was tricky early, so I'm not going to overreact. I thought he did find a few open looks later in the game, but he rushed it, right? And I think early on he just wasn't able to find, any spots. They weren't looking for him as well, so that's not really on Dadiet. He was just getting lost in the offense, and look, Summer League is a glorified scrimmage, especially early. It's going to take time for these guys to find a little bit of rhythm. So look forward to games 2, 3, 4, and hopefully we start to see a little bit more from Dadiet in terms of shot creation and hitting those open looks. But here's that sample tweeted out, Hot Hand Theory. As you see, look, Brandon Miller's got good length. He didn't bite on the pump fakes, so that's good for a rook. Fights over the screen. There did Dadiet, shuffled his feet, stayed in front, stayed disciplined, and got the stop as well. So look, for an 18-year-old, there was some good defense too. And I wasn't expecting Dadiet's defense to really look, better than his offense, but here we are. As Tyler Kolek, right, stole the show, better as good as advertised right now. Paula says his offense played well. He just wasn't there. Yep. Nick Yak says Toppin showed he can back up Randle, is what I seen. What you see. Yep. Well, yeah, good that we've got the depth and we've got the body and we've got the length, right? The official payback wanted Toppin to dunk it late in that ball game, right? Yeah, it would have been good to finish, but I think he was being held back a little bit. I watched the replay, and I think Toppin was being held by the defender. Otherwise, I think, we've seen his athleticism. He definitely would have slammed that one down, right? But, I mean, outstanding performance from Toppin. For me, 19 points, just 3 fouls, 0 in the plus minus in a loss, 4-point loss. The two of 3 from deep is what you want to, hope that can translate and be a real thing, because his athleticism is there. I like how they let him bring the ball up the court a little bit. They push the fast break. That's what you want to see too. And of course, man, 8 of 16 from the field, 50% from the field is very solid. So B+ for Jake, A for Tyler Kolek, running the offense too. 2 shining lights in the first ball game, right? Pacôme Dadiet, I will give him a C. Not awful, but yeah, just an underwhelming start. Obviously, he is, I think, might be the least ready out of all these rooks, but he's going to have time to develop. But what you know is going to translate in time is the fact that he's so tall, so athletic, and he's got multiple parts of his game, man, multifaceted. His cutting, his ability to finish in traffic, we saw it too. He just didn't hit the open J, and he did rush things a little bit as well. All the things you'd expect from a 19-year-old, but clearly Tyler Kolek is the most ready out of the two, and technically was looking to be a first-round draft pick himself. I think contractually the Knicks, switched it up and took Pacôme with the first pick, the 25th pick. They got him on a discounted deal, 80% of the rookie scale. And then they ended up paying Tyler Kolek the most that they could pay a second rounder, right? So, and let's talk about Rokus and Ariel Hukporti, and then we'll move on to some Knicks roster issues and breaking news, right, from yesterday. But let's talk a bit about Rokus, right? Slow start, missed the shot, but got beaten a little bit defensively, but then eased his way into the game, forced it in traffic, and got that banker. I'll pull up that look. But look, Rokus definitely eased his way into the game as the game went along and looked solid. I think it was a solid hit out for Rokus. Not how you start, how you finish. Right, here's the play. Yeah, considering he's just flown from overseas, he landed a few days ago. Not a structured offense right now. Very sort of a physical scrimmage. The summer league is. Don't forget, guys, you're allowed to have 10 fouls, which is interesting, right? So guys definitely use that physicality element. We saw that elbow late from that Dwayne Washington copped from Nick Smith, but you love to see Rokus just try to be a little bit of a bully ball here. This got him on the score sheet, took his man and finished it with the banker with the left. Of course, we know he's the lucky lefty, just like Kolek as well. So Rokus finished with 50% from the field, which is good. 3 of 6 in just 14 minutes. Hit both of his free throws. We know Knicks Nation will love that. He can hit those free throws. Finished with 8 points, -6 in the loss, but did have 3 turnovers, right? So 1 assist and 3 turnovers, 1 steal and 2 rebounds. So up and down start from Rokus. I do want to see more. Definitely you for a guy coming in for a few years now, you definitely want to see more moving forward. But first game, I'm not going to overreact. I know Rokus is a solid player that I think just going to find his feet in this environment, right? It's a glorified scrimmage. But obviously, the key thing to note is Rokus came off the bench. He did not start. That was Tyler Kolek. So, yeah, we'll wait to see what Rokus can do. If he can hit that open shot, that'll be great to see. And obviously, you want him to get more assists and not turn the ball over. So I'm going to give Rokus a C plus for his first game. Showed a little bit of a scoring chop, but turned the ball over a couple of times, and I didn't get those assists up. Let's talk about Ariel Hukporti. Next up, a guy who started slow, missed his first 3 shots, but obviously we've got the Knicks beat covering it in the building. Kristen Winfield of the Daily News says Ariel Hukporti, the 58th pick, has had an excellent first half, showcasing the soft touch, quick decision making in the first half of this ball game, and he didn't get any minutes really in the second half, or a little bit in the third, I believe, but he wanted to give some minutes to some other guys. But Ariel, 16 minutes, 6 points, and 5 rebounds. 3 of them were defensive, 2 offensive. So we know, guys, Ariel was coming in as a guy who was the best offensive rebounder in the class, according to ESPN. So he showed that. He is big. He's a man, and he definitely can push guys off the block to get those rebounds. So I think the best thing that I saw from Ariel was his ability to play drop coverage and gobble up those rebounds. He got 5 rebounds in 16 minutes, but he also made a few good reads with the passing, right? He caught the ball in the short roll and then found the cutter, which was Toppen, flashing to the bucket. So Ariel showed his experience on that play, finished -1, 6 points. After missing his first 3 shots, he then hit his next 3, right? And 3 of those were from Tyler Kolek, right, in the pick and roll. And it was a treat to see. I'm going to bring up the longer look at that one and the highlight so we can peek this play. Probably the best play from Tyler Kolek, in my opinion. I mean, he knows Hukporti's there in the pick and roll, trailing, eyes behind his head, right? He did jump, though. That's kind of a Derrick Rose-esque kind of pass. It's risky, but he knew that Hukporti was there and finished in rolling to the bucket. So, Hukporti's going to eat off of those Tyler Kolek assists. So good to see him finish 50% from the field efficiently. Interestingly, he didn't get a block, but 16 minutes tonight, 5 rebounds is solid. I'll give Hukporti, him a B-, for his start. Efficient from the field. I would have loved to see him get some more minutes in the second half, but I don't know if it was maybe a little injury issue. Haven't heard anything, so I'm just speculating. Or maybe he just wanted to see Skapinsev play a little bit later. But Hukporti looked fine to me. Didn't set the world on fire, but I think he looked okay. Nick Yak says Hukporti's our best athlete, better than Sims. In certainly vertical leap, Sims has got him there, but Hukporti can run the floor for his size at an outstanding rate. Rebounding is a much better rebounder, better rim protector in drop coverage. Around the basket might even be a little better than Sims, although he missed his first 3 bunnies. But he finished the others, right, on a silver plate from Tyler Kolek. Right. So let us know what you guys see. Hukporti is definitely on the 2-way now. That's signed. sealed, delivered, and that's good to see. He'll be depth if needed, probably third, fourth string. Let's see, and we're going to shift our attention now moving forward. We won't talk about this Summer League performance all night because there is plenty of time with the Nets coming up on Tuesday. And then, of course, we've got it's a back-to-back. So the Nets and then the Kings, and then we finish with the Pistons, and then one more ball game after that to be announced. And then we'll see if we can make playoffs of this. Obviously, more basketball, I'm down for it. What do you guys think? Dorkosaurus says Hukporti with Kolek had real synergy. Yep, that was great to see. One of the pleasing things to come out of this ball game, but I just don't know why Hukporti didn't play, in the later part of the ball game. I'm going to see if there's something up, but it didn't look like anything occurred during the game. Bob says, first time in a long time I've enjoyed watching the younger kids play. Yep, definitely, and I know there's going to be more reactions, overreactions. It's Summer League, that happens, fam, but we kind of know that Dadiet is a lot more raw than a Tyler Kolek, Hukporti, and a Rokus, so not surprised that he couldn't really find a rhythm, offensively. But, I mean, what Kolek did just makes up for that and some, because Kolek right now is playing like a first-round draft pick, and many people had him on the board, right? So I'm going to bring up this shot to... This is where, he brings the ball up the court, Kolek sizing it up, gets it back, attacks the closeout, doesn't settle, and finds the diving Jake Toppen. So that was another feature of Toppin's game, the cutting. But look at Kolek, just, the play's never over for him. Surveying the floor, chopping the defense up to shreds in this one. See, two help defenders come, and he attacks it and finds the trailing cutter. You could see Toppen at the top of the screen there, diving to the cup. Hukporti sealing his man off too. I like the way Hukporti runs the floor. Like he is a real athlete that will most likely never trail. He'll be the leading guy up the floor, and that there you see. So don't get what shouldn't get lost in this play is look at Hukporti run to force the big man to commit, and then the big man has to then close out on Tyler as well. If Hukporti doesn't push up the court this hard, the big can can be more available to contest, right? But yeah, that's what I noticed all last season. Hukporti has a good motor, and he does run the floor really, really well for a guy of his size. So look for that to be a feature. But yeah, the Knicks, shout out to them, to the squad. They got back into the ball game by running the break and defense. To Nick Yak says he finished the last 2 minutes. Hukporti was fine, no injury concerns. The other center was good too. Yeah, appreciate that. Bob says it was the trap. Look at the turnover with 11 seconds left. That's why he wasn't there. Hukporti wasn't there so they could run tighter defensive sets. Yeah, solid hit out anyway, 16 minutes. I mean, the fact that these games are only 40 minutes, guys, there isn't going to be players to play, 25 to 30 all the time. They'll try to spread it around. And of course, Skapinsev got 20. I thought he was pretty solid. I mean, his experience, though. We saw Skapinsev last Summer League. We've seen him in the G League all year as well. Well, I have. He hit his free throw. Shout out to him for that. 4 of 6, but missed the bunny. Late, it happens. He should have finished in traffic and slammed it. But with that said, obviously Jake Toppen missed that bunny, which would have forced OT as well. I was thinking to myself, guys, like, we're about to get OT in the first game. You can't make this stuff up. But really, overall, I mean, from a takeaway perspective from the whole team, I mean, I'll give it a B for the night. B plus. I mean, Kolek, outstanding. Exactly what you want to see in the first ball game. Stuffing the stat sheet, doing different things. And of course, we saw Dwayne Washington. Got to show him some love. He was the top scorer. I'm just not focusing on Dwayne Washington as much because, I mean, we've seen him in our backyard. He's been on the roster before. He's been on the two-way, but he's a veteran now. And the Knicks have taken him off the two-way. I think they've not extended another offer. I think he's too old to be on another two-way as well. So Dwayne Washington will be looking as a free agent to find a landing spot. But I mean, he emptied the clip in this one, right? But Tyler Kolek leads all the grades with an A. Perfect performance to start, getting guys involved. Toppen, I mean, ensuring that Hukporti was, finished with his last 3 shots, finishing 50% from the field with 3 of 6. I mean, Kolek's just a guy you want to play with. He'll get you going. He'll set you up. And he's definitely looking like a veteran out there. Defensively, looked a lot more decent than many had projected to. I mean, he's a real man's body. So he's a rookie, but he's a senior, from Marquette. And coming out, he's 23 years old. So, I mean, he's going to be ready, I think, to play some situational minutes this season. As we look ahead, guys, to what's next. Now, like I said, we've got a little break. The next game against the Nets is on Tuesday, too. So really look forward to that, and hopefully we see some more standouts. But what's moving forward now? What's happening with the streets buzzing? We've got guys chilling in summer league. GMs, executives all around the league will be, mingling, networking, having meetings, all of those things. We know in the past, a lot of deals have been consummated from guys, executives being near each other all together. It's one thing to be working the phones, but when you're in person and you can break bread with other guys. So I look for the Knicks to finalize, a move or two within the coming week or two, in my opinion. Right, as free agency has well and truly died down, the noise about Precious Achiuwa is starting to heat up. And with that said, Precious is, reports say he's got offers from contenders, and he's also interested in returning to the Knicks, and the Knicks still have interest in bringing him back too. The reason I think for the hold-up is like we talked about with John Schmelk the other night. Check that out if you haven't already. I think we've basically spoken to Precious and said, look, we want to bring you back. We're going to pay you regardless. It's just depending on whether you stay or whether or not it's going to be a sign and trade. Because obviously for the Knicks being over the cap, we can't really, bring in larger salaries right now. We can sign someone for the veteran minimum, and we can sign someone with the 5.2 milli exception. So outside of that, it's a sign and trade for Precious, or, as we speculate, as some people have talked about, a bigger trade for one of these other bigger pieces. But I mean, the free agent market's really dried up, guys, and in terms of backing up Mitchie, it could be a smaller level trade for a Nick Richards. But the Knicks are expressing interest in a Davis Bertans, a stretch 4, and also Landry Shamet, according to Hoops Hype, who could be a good use for the 5.2 milli exception, I think. Landry Shamet would provide more scoring depth. I think, maybe a replacement for sort of the bogey role. I think if we are going to bring in Davis Bertans or a Shamet, it's to kind of fill that bogey role, to just bring that little more level scoring off our bench. I mean, we know Hart's really not a shooter. So you look at the bench, it's Hart, it's DiVincenzo and Deuce McBride who can shoot it. And I'm sure they're looking for a stretch four who could provide some extra offense as well. And of course, we are looking for another rim protector. Right, those are the clear holes for me. But good to see that, Kolek is as good as advertised after tonight. Keita Bates-Diop is a Tibbs kind of guy. We'll see if he could, get an opportunity to be get a backup minute with this squad. He is 6'9", runs the floor really well, can shoot the three ball as well. But look, we've got Hukporti, we've got Jericho. Assuming either Precious is going to be re-signed or signed and traded for another big, I think we're in a good spot. Right, what are your thoughts, guys? Buzzer says Dice did a good coaching job. Yeah, I'm gonna say he did a solid job as well, man. Shout out. Give the squad a B for the game. Kolek was amazing. Salute. Hukporti, solid B minus. Was efficient, but Kolek did get him going. But I appreciate his energy, his motor. And look, Jake Toppin also stole the show. Official payback. Brook Lopez is not a free agent, but the Bucks are looking to trade him. Buzzer says we may as well go after Seth Curry or Fultz if we're going to go after Shamet. Yeah, similar players, man. Good names you mentioned. With that said, I think, Bertans would give us a little bit more size. Fultz with Kolek looking good. Curry, a lot of undersized guys, fam. I think we are looking for guys maybe that can play the 3 and above. I think we're pretty stacked in the backcourt. To be honest with you, we could go 3 deep. Look, I mean, I'm sure in a pinch, I could throw Tyler Kolek out there tomorrow for 10 minutes. I mean, based on what we saw tonight, we're not reaching. We've heard we've seen him in college. We've seen tonight. We've seen the noise. The reports heard the noise. Tyler Kolek is a pro. He's going to be ready, right? He's NBA ready. And so you look at that. You got Deuce, who's obviously growing into his role as well as the 6th man last year. And then you've got Dante and Hart. I mean, we're very deep at the backcourt spot. I like Markel Fultz because he's got a little bit of extra size, but where would he get minutes? He was basically going to, I think he's going to take minutes from Tyler. And so, McCullar, let's talk a little bit about him because I've got an update courtesy of, some Kansas coverage. Of course, the Jayhawk, right? A lot of people are wondering what's up with Kevin McCullar, right? So here's the situation with him. He basically got shut down by the coach mid-season. He was dealing with some knee soreness. There was some bone bruising, and it just wasn't healing. With bone bruising, you do need to rest it for it to heal up. And so what happened was he got shut down mid-season and just didn't play again. And then he got a scope surgery just to clean up the knee. And right now he's still rehabbing. So Kevin McCullar is rehabbing from that knee scope. He wasn't a part of any pre-draft workouts, no combine workout as well. Didn't finish the NCAA season, didn't participate in the NCAA tourney. And so that's the reason he slipped. But on the positive front, it doesn't look like it's anything long-term. It's just an injury that, it was a setback, and he's rehabilitating in New York City right now. So Kevin McCullar, I think, has a real opportunity with this team on a 2-way, just like Hukporti. But the reason we haven't, got him signed yet, in my opinion, is because I think they're further evaluating how long the injury is going to keep him out, because there is a real chance we stash him. That's the talk I'm hearing. That's a possibility. So I think Kevin McCullar will either land the final two-way spot, or he'll probably be stashed, and because of his injury situation, right? And we'll probably save him for next season, assuming, or later in the season, assuming he can get healthy. So the thing is, why sign a guy if he's injured right now when you haven't signed him yet? You know what I mean? It makes sense like that, because you're basically just wasting the contract, right? Once you sign a player, the timeline on their contract starts. So that's the hold up with McCullar. D. Linda, what's up? Kolek is legit. Washington shoots too much. Yeah, these veterans, they definitely want to show what they can do and empty the clip. But yeah, we saw some good things from Kolek. I mean, my God, we saw it. And we saw flashes from everything. I mean, Hukporti was solid after the first few minutes. Pacôme Dadiet had a few highlight plays here, finishing in traffic, but missed the open shots. But yeah, he'll find his rhythm. I think he competed really hard defensively, did Pacôme, and then of course, Kolek and Toppen definitely were legit. Yeah, Shamit's a veteran. He's been on Phoenix. He's been on a lot of contenders as well. So who else would you guys like to see us pick up? Let me know. We'll shout it out. And salute to D-Ras in the building. And shout out to everyone listening. Hope you're doing well and enjoying the weekend. Right, New York Knicks basketball is back for another season. Right, Summer League will continue to buzz, and then there'll be more free agency. Hopefully the Knicks can put those finishing touches on the roster real quick. Now that JB has signed his extension, is Tibbs up next? Is it Julius Randle, right, coming up in August? So moving forward, guys, Julius Randle, right, all the talk about, him running into the final year of his contract next season and being extension eligible in August. I'm going to lean towards an extension does get done between the two. It might take a little bit more time, right? Obviously, they're both got to find the number that they, can agree with, but I think both sides will want what's best for them. I think Julius will get security coming off an injury as well. He might have to take a slight discount, but the Knicks obviously don't want to wait, right? If Julius and the Knicks don't come to an extension agreement in August, then, I think the Knicks will continue to do more due diligence on future trades, just because the nature of the business is you can't put yourself in a position to lose a player of his quality in a free agent, as a free agent. So keep an eye out for an extension in August, I think, coming for the Knicks and for Julius. But Mikal Bridges will also be eligible for an extension later, soon. And then, of course, the king, Jalen Brunson. Let's give him some flowers now, right? Let's give Julius his flowers. But Buzz is asking who disappointed you the most. In terms of tonight, it will probably be, I'll probably say Dadiet, but my expectations were probably the least. So I think the other guys were just solid. So, Dadiet didn't hit those shots, unfortunately, but played solid D. So I'll say him slightly. Johnny says Toppen. Right. Interesting, guys. But yeah, with Jalen Brunson, right, the talk about him leading into this period and him possibly taking that extension, that noise was getting louder and louder by the day. So I wasn't surprised to see it announced. Utmost respect. He deserves all the success. We deserve all the success coming our way. And I'm going to bring up just some coverage from Keith Smith, who covers the NBA for Spotrac, and the salary cap does a fantastic job of breaking it down for us all. And he's put out a great article, which I will put in the comment section and also in the chat too. So yeah, this breaks it down. How does Jalen Brunson make the money back? So basically, in short, Brunson, over the length of his, next like 8 years, will basically be sacrificing roughly 37 million. So the number that he's sacrificing, which was reported to be 100 plus million, that's on this current deal that he could have inked, right? This current extension, he's losing out 100, but he's going to earn a lot of that back. But he can't earn all of it back. So he definitely is taking a $37 million haircut, right? Which is absolutely phenomenal, outstanding for the Knicks organization, but also good work from him, putting this team in a situation where it can be more likely to build that winning team long term, right? And keep the squad together, right? So, but when he turns 32, after this current extension ends, he'll be eligible for this monster deal as a 10-year veteran in the NBA, right? So he'll be eligible for $417 million over 5 years. So that is going to be massive. That's a huge payday on that next contract. And so, to get to that point to be a 10-year veteran makes him eligible to get that, guys. So he's giving up a little bit now, but he's going to get paid majorly later. But is he still going to take a haircut at the end of the day? Yes. He is still giving back 37 million and leaving that on the table, which is, for his legacy, right? Winning is obviously what cures everything, but obviously he's always been a team first guy ever since he stepped in the building. Now, the next bit on Keith Smith's article, to summarize, Brunson should be lauded for leaving a lot of money on the table. And no, it wasn't really 113 mil, nor was it even 51 mil, but 37 mil is still a lot of money, right? Brunson's clearly the toast of the town in New York City, with the streets buzzing. He's arguably as big of a sports star in the city as there is right now. In a lot of ways, he's everything Knicks fans want in a star. He's tough. He plays with heart. He's an underdog due to his size, and most importantly, he loves New York, and he loves playing for the New York Knicks, right? He values playing with these guys. He enjoys being around them. We've all made jokes about the Villanova Knicks, but there is truth there right now. You can't put a price on what it's worth to play with your friends, even if that price is apparently something like 37 mil, right? But of course, lastly, the Knicks win here as well, not by an overwhelming margin, but things are starting to get really tight with the Knicks cap sheet. We've seen in recent situations, including New York's own, with any extra wiggle room, can make a major difference moving forward, right? So that is from Keith Smith on the situation with Jalen Brunson, taking that discount, right? The toast of the town, that's the best way to put it, fam, right now. And the Knicks will avoid being hard capped at the second apron for the next few years, and that is a major, major advantage, right? We'll be able to swing more trades. We'll be able to improve the squad in other ways moving forward and just give that Knicks that flexibility. So, when you're trying to catch Boston and you're trying to, win your first championship in 52 years, right, he's once in a generation, is Jalen Brunson, right? There's no other way to say it and describe him, man. He's put his actions into play. He's put his money where his mouth is, literally, and taken this big discount, right? It's not as big as some people are making it out to be, but it is definitely, something that he didn't need to do, and he deserves to be commended, man, all the way for that, right? But it's all about winning with him, right? And we've seen a lot of guys come through the Knicks building where winning wasn't necessarily the top priority. You know, it was probably financially first and then trying to see if they can win in New York City. So should we build a statue, right? Yeah, is his number probably going to get, hang up in the rafters? Yes, yes, yes. I mean, James Dolan has already shown how loyal he is, right? If you show that kind of loyalty to him while you're in your prime, I think big things are going to come for JB, right? His legacy and us, man. I mean, I'm absolutely buzzing. He's obviously my current favorite Knick. I root for every single Knick, but obviously, most people have a favorite. One thing that was special to me is that, he chose the situation. He wanted to be in the spotlight with the Knicks. He wanted to take this opportunity to run the Knicks organization at the point, be that floor general. He's taken on different roles. Last season, he had to step his scoring game up. But now I think with these boys that he's got, I think we can see his facilitating take a big step up. What's up, CC? Rokus, Toppen, and Washington look fluid in game play. Yeah, no doubt. Kolek stole the show, but Jake looked really fluid, and so did Pacôme Dadiet. We've got a super chat from Buzzer Beater. Let's go. Great to hear from you, Buzzer. Buzzer says, do we need a GoFundMe for the St. Jalen's statue? I think James Dolan will take care of that, fam. He will get taken care of, no doubt, moving forward. But, it's all about winning right now. When you win, imagine how many more endorsements are going to come, how much more accolades and shine are going to come Jalen Brunson's way, right? And like we said, it's not as much as people have made out, but it's still a significant discount, right? Players don't have to do that too. I know it's raised a lot of eyebrows, but everyone's entitled to do what they want to do, man, right? I don't even think Brunson wants to be a one and done in terms of winning a chip. He wants to win multiple chips with the New York Knicks. So yeah, Buzzer says, I keep hearing he was missing out on 113 milli, but you were saying only 37 milli. How is that? Well, yeah, I'll go through it again, but I just explain in terms of Keith Smith's article. And I'll bring that article up again right now. So the numbers are there for his next deal. That's where he's going to be able to make it up. You see, he's sacrificing 113 mil right now. So that's why people are thinking, oh, well, he's giving back 113 mil. But by signing this early extension, he's able to hit free agency sooner as a 10-year veteran, and he'll be eligible for this mega max deal in 4 years' time. So that's going to get him 417 million for the next 5 years after this current deal expires. So you look at the numbers, it's going to be 72, 77, 83, 89, and 95, right? So, and he'll be 32 years old when he signs this deal, assuming the Knicks do it and take care of him. Of course, you should, right? He'll be 32. He'll still be in his prime. I mean, Steph's playing really well at a high level. And so, yeah, Buzzer, that's where it comes into it. He's sacrificing 113 now, but he's going to make that up. He's going to make a lot of that up, but he'll still be losing out on 37 over the next 8 years, 9 years when it all adds up, basically. So he signed one long-term 4-year deal, assuming he's going to get one more huge 5-year deal. So when you put those 9 years, you put the two deals together over the course of the next 9 years, he'll only be losing out 37 mil, not 113, right? If he waited and didn't sign this early extension, he wouldn't be able to get this the deal of this magnitude after that. So it's kind of a little bit of, I sacrifice now and I'm going to gain a lot more later, but I'm still taking a haircut. CC says Pacôme will show more most def. Yeah, I like his defense. Warren, what's up? Hukporti's nickname should be the Incredible Huck. He is big. He's huge. One thing I like from Hukporti was the screen setting. Well, early when he missed his first 3 shots, and then he found a little rhythm with the pick and roll with Kolek. I think the screen setting was able to help Kolek get free, and then and finish some of those easy ones too. And yeah, Christian from the Daily News covering the team out there in Vegas. Yeah, he saw what I saw basically. Hukporti just looked solid. I gave him a B minus. Didn't score a whole heap, but was 3 of 6, efficient, 5 rebounds in 16 minutes. Right, so I look forward to seeing more of him. But of course, man, Kolek, right, he's as good as a first-round draft pick. So heady. Also want to highlight on this clip, guys, his quick first step. Watch when he relocates, right? Look, 2 dribbles and he's in the paint already. He's got a very underrated quick first step, does Tyler Kolek. See, the other big has to commit immediately. So that's good to see him able to attack the closeout that quickly, because he's there in the corner. Basically 1 dribble and he's in the paint already too. And look, he beats his man up the court with the dribble. Very solid dribble with Kolek. And in terms of assist to turnover ratio, let's peep. Kolek, 7 assists, and how many turnovers? 0. Fam, that's what's up. That's buzzing from Tyler Kolek. So 0 turnovers with 7 assists and a +9 in a 4-point loss. So every bit as good as advertised is Kolek, right? And I'm willing to say he's more than likely a better floor general than Deuce at that side of the game, right? Shooting-wise, Deuce has obviously taken a huge step up, and defensively, it's not even close. Deuce is the better 2-way player. But floor general-wise, point guard, taking care of the ball, facilitating and running an offense, it looks like Tyler Kolek is going to give it a real shake to win some minutes, right? Which is healthy, because you want competition, but you can never have enough ball handlers, guys, in my opinion. We saw it against Indiana too. Yep. Paula says, I've never heard of any players doing that. It's outstanding. It really is what Brunson's done. And but it's been in the works. He's been planning. Apparently, according to ESPN, he's been studying the CBA and the cap for ways that he can, make a sacrifice, but still help the team out in the best possible way without giving up too much. Al Tango says, salute. CT, Kolek has great court vision. Good passer. Dadiet is a better defender than advertised. Hulk looks good for minutes played. Yeah, shout out. Solid hit out from those guys. I really think McCullar would have got amongst it as well, but with him being out, that gave Jake Toppin, that gave him that opportunity to step up, and we shouldn't forget about him. I know a lot of people have, but Jake Toppin was the second biggest standout for me. Was he a drafted rookie? No, he wasn't. But he's got a lot of tools and length. I've never been to Vegas Summer League, fam. I've been to Vegas twice, fam, but never been to Summer League. I know it's going to be exciting. Yeah, Kolek's going to cook. practice is going to be interesting, CC, with this situation. Leon Rose has improved the squad, right? And he deserves an A for the off-season, right? Probably A+. But the best thing about it is there's going to be a lot more comp for spots and minutes, I mean, even fringe guys like, Keita Bates-Diop, assuming we do get another body at the 4, which is, Bertans, Shamet, assuming we get more veterans in here as well as another big. Of course, Leon Rose will bring in another big man. He's exploring all avenues to do that, but there's more depth, and as I spoke before, McCullar might not even get a contract this season. He might be a stash, due to some health concerns, or he might get the final two-way, which is going to free up, another roster spot between Kolek and Dadiet as well. So look out. There's Fultz, Tyus Jones, Seth Curry, like Buzzer spoke on. Is there a spot for Rokus, CC? You guys, let me know. Chat, replay squad. I mean, I'm not going to make an evaluation on Rokus after the one game. There was good and there was bad. The 3 turnovers, 1 assist was something that I want to see more of. I want to see an improvement on. However, he's as good as advertised offensively, is Rokus. I mean, 3 of 6, hit both free throws. I mean, the thing about Rokus is he's really a combo guard. He can shoot. So that's in his repertoire. That's in his favor for Rokus Jokubaitis. He's not as good of a floor general as Kolek, but he's still solid at the pick and roll and the playmaking aspect. But what is also good about Rokus and Kolek is that they can both shoot. So that's really promising, guys. 14 minutes for Rokus was 3 of 6. But the 3 turnovers, it did hurt. 1 steal was good. 1 assist, 2 rebounds, But as I said, I never overreact to a Summer League game, especially the first one, because it's a glorified scrimmage, right? A lot of these plays are just reading and reacting. They're not, there's little to, organization and set plays. It's 10 fouls each person. It's very physical. And it's the beginning of summer. Like a lot of these guys just, I'm sure they've been practicing for about a week. But, it's not even like they've been together for that long. One of my favorite plays of tonight was one of this pick and roll lobs or dump down to Hukporti from Kolek, right? Can get downhill, draws 2 defenders, and is still able to know where Hukporti is. And shout out to Hukporti for patiently rolling to the cup on that one. He didn't, take him out of position too far, but he stayed there ready for the dump down. Well, he finished with 3 of 6 as well, so he basically met my expectations, didn't exceed. Kolek and Jake Toppin were probably the 2 guys that exceeded my expectations. I would say Rokus and Hukporti met those expectations. I would say Dadiet maybe slightly less, slightly below, but I didn't have a whole lot of expectations on him in the first game anyway. But solid overall defensively. Kevin says, how tall is Kolek? Actually, he looks taller than 6 foot height. Some people have said about him. Yeah, he's 6'1", Kevin, from what I've heard. And that is with shoes, though. So probably 6 feet without shoes. 6'3" wingspan. But yeah, he's obviously probably finished growing because he's 23. Nick Nack says we can't add Rokus and Kolek. So things get a little bit log jammed with that, I understand. Buzzer says CT Brunson is taking a risk. If he gets injured, will Dolan take care of Brunson in some way? when newly signed contract expires. You said it. No, he is taking a risk. We can assume that he's going to get that deal, that 5-year mega deal when he's 32. But if he's injured, obviously things could change. But Dolan is loyal. So as long as he can still play and he's not, debilitated, I see him getting a very solid deal. But he is leaving money on the table. It is a risk. Is it going to be 100 million like everybody is reporting, immediately? In the long term, no, right? Assuming he's healthy and he will get the most he's eligible to get, he'll only be sacrificing 37 milli. So, I say that lightly because only sacrificing, it sounds ridiculous to say that, but for a multi-millionaire, it's not as much of a haircut as it is with us. It would be with us too. Look, I think Rokus will probably go back to Europe for another season, and Kolek's here now. We'll see how things play out, but I'm not giving up on Rokus being a future trade asset or coming to the Knicks in the future. See, there's a lot of discourse over people, maybe frustrated with Rokus, or they don't like him, or they don't like his game, or they don't care. Whichever one it is, Rokus is 23 years old. He's the same age as Kolek. So I'm looking at him as more of a long-term play where, he's either going to be a nice asset in a future trade chip, or he may become in the future. But just because if he doesn't come this season, I'm not saying, F Rokus, let's forget about him, all of those things, right? It's foolish to say that about a 23-year-old, right? If there's no minutes on the team, it's realistic that he should go back to Europe and continue to develop. Just think about Europe as being the G League, essentially, the guy needs to continue to play, to develop, right? Coming to the Knicks isn't going to be good for either party if he's going to be, riding the bench, and we drafted Kolek. Now we've got Deuce McBride, but guess what? If Deuce is in a future deal, or Kolek or somebody were to get injured, suddenly you've got Rokus who's still playing and developing, and you can bring him over, at some point in the future. So look at Rokus as just that chip. We either use it to trade, or we keep him simmering. Basically, we keep him warm over in Europe. But I'm not clamoring to bring Rokus over this season if there's no minutes, because I just don't think it's going to be good for his development. He's a 4-year pro, right? Do you think he wants to continue to play in Westchester if he's a 4-year pro? Or do you think he would prefer to play in Europe where he's earning real money on a real professional team, in a real league? So, are the odds decreasing that he'll probably play for the Knicks long term? Now that we've got Kolek, things are probably decreasing. But if he can continue to develop as a 23-year-old, I think he'll have value one way or the other. It'll either be in a trade or it'll be on the Knicks at some point in the future. Maybe they do think to get a big, Deuce McBride might be, a chip that they need to trade in the future to get another star in the building. We don't know. But Rokus is an asset for us right now. Buzzer says, why would Houston want to trade Sengun? I keep hearing about this trade for Randle. So far, let's go through the reports. There's been no reports that Houston is looking to get off of Sengun. There's reports that the Knicks have interest in Sengun. So those are two different things. If Houston would be interested in moving Sengun, it would be because they're looking for an upgrade. It's the same way you move off of any player. You never move off of a player to get a worse player. You'll move a player to get somebody better. Is Julius Randle better than Sengun right now? Yes, in my opinion. If you're the Houston Rockets, Sengun's probably going to come up to an extension soon. He's a very young, outstanding young player. But if you're Houston, you're looking to contend soon. You're looking to push your rebuild faster, fam. You got Jabari Smith, who's going to be extension soon. You've got Jalen Green as well. You've got Fred VanVleet, who you're paying the bag. I think Houston want to accelerate things, and I think Julius Randle is a good name from Houston's perspective. Now, there's been no reports saying that Houston want to trade Sengun. I think what I've seen is reports that the Knicks have interest in him. So possibly we have been the ones to instigate the conversations from what I've seen, but we'll see. There's a lot of moving parts right now, and as I spoke to John, I think the closer you get to a championship, there's collateral. Boston had to move on from Marcus Smart, and of course the Milwaukee Bucks had to move on from a championship player in Drew Holiday, right? I mean, I know fans, they form a affinity to Knicks players, and of course we love them, we support them, we root for their success as well. Unfortunately, not everyone can be there for the ride, right? Not everyone can be there, to be on that final championship team. First, you have to find a way to become a championship team, and get there first, right? If we had kept RJ, Toppen quickly and just paid them all the contracts that they currently got, man, we'd have next to no chance of winning a championship. That's no disrespect to them. But if the Knicks were paying Toppen 60 mil, current deal, they were paying RJ's deal, and they were paying Emmanuel Quickly 35 million, that wouldn't be a championship team. So unfortunately, we had to move them and make upgrades for pieces that fit better, but also contractually, because Brunson is now earning significant bread. You can't be paying his backup, Emmanuel Quickly, 35 mil. So there is collateral. You've got to shuffle the decks a little bit. I hate to see players leave. I love rooting for those guys as well. I just don't know who else is going to be here for the next hopeful championship team soon. Now this season, I think we're very, very, very close. I think we want to see the front office. We want to see how we compete, how close we get this season. I think the only thing that is going to cause a shake-up is because of the Randle contract situation. Nothing else. Not Randle's ability. And possibly losing Isaiah and Mitch not being the most durable. We need to find a center solution in terms of either backup or a guy who could also step in. So, look, part of being a manager, a GM, a president of any company is making tough decisions, right? You're never going to be in a job like that where things become easy, right? And decisions, every decision you make is easy. You have to make tough calls sometimes. And that's why those guys get paid what they do, fam. But, Dolan up the scouting department, and so far, man, Kolek looks legit after tonight with the New York Knicks taking a narrow loss, but him flirting with a triple-double, 7, 7, and 7, in his first Summer League hit-out. This is a guy who's a fringe first-round draft pick, right, who he stole with the 34th pick. Look forward to seeing him continue to develop. What's up, D Cool? Salute. If Rokus goes back to Europe, as I just spoke about, I'm not sure if that chat's delayed or not, buzzer, but yeah, I spoke about Rokus for about 5 minutes, and I gave my thoughts on that. If Rokus goes back to Europe, it's not the end of his NBA career. I think it'll just be a holding pattern. He'll just be developing still. I still think, he will be on an NBA team eventually. I think he's an NBA talent, is Rokus. I think the chances of it being on the Knicks will probably decrease if he goes back to Europe, just because we have Kolek now. But as I said, if Deuce were to get moved in the future, then there's a real need. There's a real need for a Rokus in the future, so I'm not giving up on him. And look, we're trying to compete for a championship, so I'm not phased about Rokus really coming. I know I tweeted this out, but I did feel like people did overreact a little bit to the Rokus news about him, moving clubs in Europe. I think the best way that I can describe it is his Europe club is just his day job right now. Pursuing the NBA is his side hustle, but he's looking to make the side hustle his day job. But at the end of the day, he still needs his 9 to 5 to pay his bills right now. And, I don't know if the Knicks are really offering a contract to come over yet. They've drafted another point guard. So I think things are more likely trending towards Rokus being a trade chip. But if he does go back to Europe for the season, I'm not overreacting, because, we are quite stacked. We're contending, and teams who contend don't really have a lot of room. Teams don't really have a lot of room to flirt with end of the roster spots. I think we will look to try to fill it with Shamet, and guys like that, Fultz, Bertans, and that, man. But yeah, I got you, Buzzer. Appreciate it. Always happy to ask questions. I was just clarifying whether or not you missed what I said earlier. But yeah, I appreciate you interacting with the chat, and the best chat in the biz is popping right now, fam. After Summer League Game 1, we're all pretty hyped for the off season so far, and the big season ahead. I think we're going to go toe to toe with Boston. The NBA schedule is going to come out really soon, but Toppin was a standout for me, and Tyler Kolek tonight. We saw some nice flashes from Dadiet, more from Hukporti and Rokus, but that is Game 1, ladies and gentlemen, in the books for Knicks Summer League. We'll be back at it post-game live on Tuesday, but we'll be live again probably Sunday or Monday night before the next game, and I will chop up the latest news and anything else coming through the building. But yeah, we talked about the keys to tonight's game. We gave out some grades, and also we talked about Kevin McCullar, the reason why he might not have been signed yet, right? So appreciate Buzzer Beater for the super chats, and you guys for your questions. Nick Knack says, Hukporti impressed me with his offensively, but I was expecting way more defensively. Yeah, that's normal. I can see why. He did come in with a lot more noise about his defense, coming in based off his pro season in the NBL. The best way I can, address that is just to say that, Summer League's high tempo. It's a glorified scrimmage. There's little organization. It's just guys running up and down the floor, and I think he's obviously wasn't in position to pick up a few blocks. He was playing it up against a couple of experienced guys. I thought his drop coverage was solid. He just didn't pick up blocks. But yeah, offensively, I thought he struggled early, in fact. But then he did, finish those in traffic on the pick and roll. Dadiet's defense impressed me a little bit more than his offense too. This is a great possession that he had on Brandon Miller too. But as we know, Kolek stole the show. 1 of 2 from deep. Man, if the 3-point shooting is real, then Tyler Kolek is a real NBA point guard right now. In terms of, going to earn minutes. I know his floor game is brilliant, but the shooting aspect, if that comes along, he's going to see time. Right, he's going to see time. You can't leave him open, and that's really good to see. Just knock down those open shots. That means that you can play next to Brunson, or you could play next to Deuce McBride. You can play on ball, off ball a little bit. Now the size is a little concerned because he's 6'1", but at one point tonight, not at one point tonight, did I think, oh man, Kolek's out of his depth defensively, or man, he got burned on that one. Man, he got cooked. I didn't think that once tonight. So I think, Kolek's defense was just, solid. It was just, serviceable. But yeah, of course, our guy Jake missed the tying layup or dunk to force OT, but he scored in bunches tonight, showed his athleticism. Could he be a backup four? I just don't know if Tibbs is going to trust him. I think if he can show it defensively, I think Jake Toppin could earn some minutes, spot minutes situationally. But obviously we are contending, guys, and so I think guys are just going to have to continue to be patient with their minutes and develop in the G League. Hukporti might not even see big time this season, right? He might be more of a future prospect for the Knicks as we look to make more significant upgrades. Buzzer Beater with the great question about NBA Cup groups. Yeah, I like it, man. Philly. So we drew Brooklyn, we drew Philly, and we drew Charlotte, I believe, as well. Let me peep the groups, because I know I did bookmark it, and I'm bringing it up on the screen right now. Orlando, here we go. Yep, Orlando was the team I was missing. So the Knicks face Orlando, Philly, Brooklyn, and the Hornets in Group A. So light work against the Hornets. It's going to be light work against Brooklyn, but Orlando and Philly are going to be two tight games. Obviously, the score matters in these games. You got to run up the score to get a high point difference. So that's going to be interesting to see. We're a better team than Orlando. I'm not worried about them. So we could technically win all 4 pool games in advance as the number 1 spot into the knockout phase. What are your thoughts? J-Dub in the building says Kolek looking nice. He is ready. I like Dadiet. I see potential in this kid. Yeah, the cutting was good. The defense looks solid. And one of the things I talked about with Dadiet was his size, He's very toolsy. It's not hard to become a good NBA defender in time when you're 6'9" already and, 18 years old. So, yeah, with that said, guys, I think Dadiet projects to be a two-way wing. And that's why the Knicks selected him at the end of the day. With Dadiet, pun intended, struggled with his shot. However, you saw the signs of the defense, right? So, I mean, much higher upside than McCullar. Much higher upside than Ariel Hukporti. So, let's see how he looks in these other games, man. The 3-point shot was good in Europe, and the spot-up shot was also good in Europe too. So, we saw some signs from Rokus, just being, the scoring combo guard who can facilitate as well. I mean, just good to get a look at him. Obviously not going to overreact to one game. Let's see how he looks against Brooklyn, the Kings, Pistons, and then one more, and then possibly more. A pieces, of course, Brunson will get taken care of too. Assuming, like I said, assuming he's playing well, playing at a high level, he'll get that mega deal, right? The only world where he won't get that mega deal is if he's, basically debilitated, and he can't play to the same level when he's 32. So that is going to be, one factor in it. But obviously, his game isn't on athleticism. It's savviness, It's shooting, it's headiness, it's all of those things. So with Brunson, I think his game is going to age well. Right. We had a Ryan Rosillo also comment on our guy, Tyler Kolek, is very good at basketball. So yeah, a lot of eyes on this game tonight, man. And Tyler Kolek took his chance. Right. Look forward to chopping it up. Next show. Yeah, apologies. As J-Dub says, Dadiet showing effort on D. He moves without the ball as well, showing playmaking skill. Absolutely, man. You said it. The cutting, the passing was legit. Definitely looking forward to seeing what he's got next. They don't teach size, so athleticism is big, but we'll see what happens with the shot making. So, but I mean, Kolek never gives up on the play. Knows to keep the dribble alive. Keep cutting, surveying the floor. A true floor general, man. Ariel Hukporti owes him a drink because 3 of Hukporti's buckets were off Kolek dimes. So, I mean, Kolek stole the show, most def. And let's get it. In the next one, I'm losing my voice. Apologies, guys, but I was planning to wrap this thing up anyway. Appreciate you all for rocking out. Knicks lose their first Summer League ball game. However, it's all about how the players looked. And they fought hard in the second half. Took it to them. Don't forget Nick Smith, Brandon Miller. They're veterans right now. They're not rookies. They're not even sophomores. In the case of Brandon Miller, right? So hopefully we hear some word on what the Knicks are doing with the center position in the next day or so. We'll be back live to chop it up with you all. Smash that like button. The streets are buzzing. And let's get it against Brooklyn. Next game up. Salute Tyler Kolek. Salute to the squad. Let's get it. Peace.